So I just finished recording episode 3 out of 52 in our series about how to start a tech company. Now, in the first few episodes, we have not necessarily talked about tech companies, but more so what to expect as a startup founder. Why do you want to start a startup, and what are the traits of successful founders? Now, how do we know anything about successful founders? We've been successful founders and we know a whole lot of successful founders. Overall, in this episode and in relation to what traits successful founders have, they're all really closely related. And, some of those were like hustle, commitment, perseverance, like the ability to be dedicated and resilient. Those are all big ones. And the thing is as we got through the episode, we quickly realized that so many synonyms existed, the same word a different way. One of the ones that stood out too is also sometimes being stubborn. And you look at, let's just take, Thomas Edison, for example, who reportedly failed 2,000 times before finding a light bulb solution that would burn for more than 15 minutes. And there's a level of stubborn that does have to exist if you want to keep trying. At the same time, being too stubborn can kill you and can kill the company. So successful founders often find a way to walk that tightrope. At the same time, they're nimble. And you hear the word agile and, the ability. So you have to constantly be on your toes, be ready to change direction, be ready to identify something worth following and chasing, at the same time being stubborn. So tenacity was another one. Tenacious, that's the ability to just keep getting up and, fight. One of the ones that I thought was really crucial as well was having emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is understanding your own emotions, your own personality type, as well as how that relates to the other people that you work with or around or for. And emotional intelligence is something that I wrote about in my book, Balance Me, where I had a whole section about personality styles. We all have different personality styles. You have to have an understanding of what yours is. For me, I'm a highly driven person. So if we just talk type A and type B, I'm way up there on the type A scale, which means I need to A, know that, and B, know that if I talk to a type B person, that they not only perceive me a different way than I might perceive myself, but my communication and how I work with it for and around them needs to be a little different than how I might like it myself. That's emotional intelligence. Some of the other things that really stood out when it came to this episode: passion, empathy, compassion, humility, and confidence. So if you're not confident and passionate about what you're doing, the likelihood is that you're going to fail. Why? You're probably going to quit. People that have the passion and perseverance and tenacity to get through the things that are tough, or to do things at a time that they might not want to do them or feel like they can or could, which, by the way, is pretty much a definition of self-discipline. I define self-discipline as doing the things that you need to do at the times that you want to do them the least. Integrity, honesty, strength. These are other, if you aren't honest and you don't have integrity, you're going to have a very, very difficult time getting people to invest in you and to believe in you. And I've spent a lot of time talking about the honesty part. I even gave a speech a few years ago for about 500 people, a keynote address at a conference. And I was talking about how cheaply people sell their honesty and trust away to little things. And, I've seen people do dumb stuff like lie on an expense report for over $20 and ruin a great job or a career, or just not have any trust afterward, because once that's gone, it's almost impossible to recover. Meaning, if you don't trust someone, you probably never will. And trust is something you have to earn. It's not just a given. Some of the other things that were on the list that really stood out were like being adaptable, being curious, innovative. Successful founders are often overachievers, and they aim to be exceptional. Good enough stopped being good enough a long time ago. So good enough is average. And you need to aim to want to be a little better than that. If average is your goal, make some new goals. All right, so we talked a lot about the traits of successful founders, and at the same time wanted to make sure that we visited some of the traits, some of the bad traits. So some of the bad traits of startup founders that we've seen and experienced ourselves are, well, they're closed-minded. So being closed-minded is a terrible way to live. It's stubborn past the point of where stubborn's okay. Another bad trait is, unsuccessful founders have a difficult time defining a clear direction for the company or a definition of what those that work at the company should be working towards on really any level. They often are, another terrible trait of founders that don't end up being successful is what I refer to as victimitis. And that's the constant victim is the person that can't take responsibility for things not going well. And I think that in this episode, I use the example of someone that is mad at the police officer for giving them a speeding ticket. How dare you give me a ticket for going 40 into 25? I can't believe you would do that. It's not the cop's fault. It's your fault. Don't speed. In the end, you got to take responsibility for it. I was going too fast, was driving over the posted limit. Doesn't mean you have to like getting a ticket, but really in the end, it's your responsibility and what you need to deal with. This is something I really push with my own team and my own employees and myself is taking responsibility when you fail. I'll deal with that on 10 times more and to 10 times of a higher degree than I will constant excuses. It's always someone else's fault or this or that, or there's blaming and, any of that's no good. Some of the other bad traits are just the opposite of the good ones. You talk about making excuses, being dishonest, being lazy. Look, if you're going to be a successful startup founder or entrepreneur, you need to accept the fact that it's going to be a lot of work. I don't know anyone that's quote successful that will tell you it wasn't hard work, because it was. Another trait that's not great to work around and often associated with the unsuccessful is thinking they know it all. You don't. There's so many things you don't know, and there always will be. Wrap your arms around it and learn some shit. For real, learn some shit. Have you heard of paralysis analysis? That is the inability, that's overthinking it. That's the inability to ever make a decision. I often tell a story, and I actually didn't share this in the episode, so a little bonus content for you here. So there's this old parable or story or whatever, or fable or whatever you want to call it, and it's about a shopkeeper that never gets around to opening the store because he's too busy cleaning it. That is a good example of not being able to make a decision on some levels. He's so wrapped up, and I got to clean more. Is the store clean enough? Should I open it? I don't know. So I'll clean some more. You got to make decisions. You got to make them quickly. In this episode, I compared a successful startup founder to a quarterback calling an audible right before a play. Like, I see that okay, this isn't, we're stacked up against something other than what I was prepared for. Let's make a change. You do this, you do that. If your company ends up on that rocket ship ride into the stratosphere, you're headed to the moon, you have to make quick decisions, because in that case, if you don't, rocket's going to crash. It's going to go off course. You're going to lose the faith of the team, the staff, and no one really wants to be around that. Last unsuccessful trait of startup founders is they refuse to delegate, or they're just not any good at it. Look, Your goal should be to build something bigger than you. And that means there has to be more people or more anything involved than just you. So you're gonna have to learn how to make those around you great, how to help them achieve what they want while also achieving what you want. And delegation is a big part of that. If you have the right people around you, they are waiting with open arms for all of the delegated tasks, lists, and things that they can, could, or should be doing to help you and the company be successful. So figure it out. Thanks for paying attention. That was episode 3 out of 52 in our series about how to start a tech company. See you next time.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.